Hey, what's up, guys? Dr. Epic here. Welcome back to the channel. This is a channel where I talk about and explore topics that I found interesting. And today I want to explore the possibility of the Geth returning in Andromeda. You heard that right. This idea for me was sparked largely by a random comment that I read. It was posted by YouTube user KyleGT. And I found the comment in the comment section of the great Mr. Holthian's video that was called Top 5 Biggest Theories about Mass Effect 4. I will be posting the comment here, and I hope this is okay, because I found it to be a very interesting theory, and since it's posted publicly on YouTube, I assume it's okay if I do it. But if it's not okay, of course, please contact me, I'll get that thing out of here. But yeah, let's move into the video. And so basically this commenter argues, as I understood it, that the Geth have the technology and the wish to reach the Andromeda galaxy. The commenter argues that the so-called heretic faction of the Geth from Mass Effect 2, or Mass Effect 3, Mass Effect 1, however you want to call it, they were looking for the old machines, or the Reapers, as we know them, in dark space, using the Geth telescope. And they found something in dark space or in Andromeda, and they wish to travel to this location. And once they reached dark space or all the way to Andromeda, they found some reason to go to Andromeda. Maybe it was they were observing the arcs leaving the Milky Way galaxy. Maybe the Scourge is fascinating them. We know they're interested in dark energy from the planet in Mass Effect 2, you know, with the star Dolan, epic name by the way, Haestrom, the planet. Or it could be something else entirely. As a story writer, you could just write in whatever you want. And the commenter argues that this teaser here could be teasing exactly this or something like this. And as the commenter points out, Geth does have a good reason, at least, to have the technology to be able to reach dark space, since you can learn in the Mass Effect lore that the Initiative was using Geth technology, and as I understood it, was basically a modified mass relay telescope to observe the Golden Worlds in Mass Effect Andromeda, in the Andromeda galaxy. And so, if they have that technology, based on the Geth technology, one could assume that the Geth, if they wanted to, could make some technology to travel to the Andromeda galaxy as well, since the Andromeda Initiative managed to do it. And the Geth, as we know, are heavily more advanced than the organic species of the Milky Way galaxy. So, you know, the Geth could reach Andromeda. The next question is, should the Geth go to Andromeda? And this is a question more related to what would make a good story. And of course, we can't know what will make a good story before the story is written and finished and we read or played it. And the Geth could offer interesting stories in combination with the Cats and maybe specifically the Remnant. I think that the Geth could oppose the Cat pretty easily if they were to establish themselves. And I think it's easier to explain how a synthetic species like the Geth would be able to establish themselves fast enough and big enough to be able to be a threat than it is to, say, explain how the Initiative could become strong enough to battle the Cats. You know, you would always have to have some sort of plot device like Meridian. We'll see how that plays out if it were organics. But you know, the Geth, they're synthetic species. They could likely, you know, get resources faster, exploit them better, and become a formidable force much faster than organic species. On the other hand, I feel like the Geth, story-wise, might be kind of played out by now. In Mass Effect 1 they were very central, and they had a notable enough role in Mass Effect 2, and a big central role in Mass Effect 3, with a beautiful or devastating conclusion to their fate. And I think their story was told well. The Geth's existence as a synthetic species that could become peaceful if you did the right choices for that, was very thematically in line with what was the big theme of Mass Effect 3. It retroactively became the overarching theme for the entire original trilogy. You know, the struggle between organic and synthetic species. Can they coexist? Can they never coexist? And so, like that. But I thought the Geth story was told well in the original games. And if the Destroy ending is the true canon, then the Geth shouldn't be able to have survived in the Milky Way galaxy. You know, the Star Child, he did say, even though if you had perfect war assets and all that, that synthetic life should be eradicated. And I don't know, it would be a very weird move from a story writer perspective to have this guy say this, and then you just turn around and say, well, he was wrong. I think that would be very weird. I will assume that the Geth are dead. And if this commenter's theory is true, then the heretic Geth, that are presumably evil, as they've always been, you know, they like the Reapers. If these heretic Geth were leaving for Andromeda, then they wouldn't, presumably, be affected by the Destroy ending, since they wouldn't have been in the Milky Way galaxy and in reach of the Mass Relay Network. Presumably, they would be out of reach from the Catalyst super magic explosion. So logically, in universe, with the physical laws of Mass Effect universe, they should be able to survive if they were leaving for Andromeda. From my perspective, this would be okay, but even though I feel like it's kind of a cheap workaround from the stakes of the Mass Effect 3 ending, and I think it would retroactively diminish the impact of the endgame choices in Mass Effect 3. For many people, myself included, killing the Geth to destroy the Reapers was a very tough decision, because you love those guys, and I still do. I still love the Geth as a faction. I love Legion, I love Geth lore. My favorite squad mate in Mass Effect 2, I think, was Legion.
Barriers overwhelmed. Autosaving. Archival upload commencing. No carrier. No carrier. No carrier.
The Geth has one of the saddest backstories in Mass Effect, and it's a very well written background in the Mass Effect universe, I think. So I would, of course, be able to stomach the Geth returning because I love those guys, but the reason has to be good. And at this point the question becomes more so, should the Geth return at all, than just should the Geth go to Andromeda? And like I said, if given good reasons for survival, that's okay. Though I think that would be hard if the Destroy ending should be the only canon ending. I think it would be very hard to do that right without it seeming like a cop-out from the writer's perspective. But at the same time, guys, we have to acknowledge that the Geth, they're really just software. So they were made once. Why couldn't they be made again? This could be a better way of reintroducing the Geth. Say someone started rebuilding them or something. If you made peace with the Geth and the Quarians, you should know that in Mass Effect 3 the Geth had started to help make Rannoch more livable, faster, for the Quarians. And this would certainly be one of the many advantages the Geth could give to the galaxy, and maybe specifically the Quarians. The Geth could help rebuild the galaxy, much like how the Reapers do in the Control ending. And there is another way you could reintroduce the Geth, and out of the ones I've discussed and explored so far, I think this one is the most likely to be my favorite. So it's like this. You have a lone, single Geth unit akin to Legion, just picture Legion, and this unit has survived, or maybe it's recreated, like a completely new version, using, let's say, maybe old Reaper upgraded code, like they were discussing in Mass Effect 3. And this unit represents the Geth in a new age, you know, post-Reaper. Sort of like how Javik represented the Protheans. And this Geth unit could be influenced by you and your decisions and that would form his morality. If he could become like a good guy Geth, like good guy Legion, maybe he would become an evil heretic Geth. Maybe he would try to become like a Reaper or a Reaper ally or something like that. Just thinking at the top of my brain right now how this guy could become. And now that I say it out loud, in a lot of ways this would mirror how Edie was treated story-wise in Mass Effect 3. You could give her input on her questions, and that would form her personality and what she would want to do with her life. And right now I'm just picturing Legion in Edie's body. Not in that way, but oh, guys, supermodel Geth. The perfect Geth. That would be cool. Maybe not. We'll see. But as for my conclusion on the question, if the Geth should go to Andromeda, I don't really see the need to bring the Geth to Andromeda. The Geth don't really need to return, in my opinion. But it seems from this teaser that they will at least play some sort of role. How they will play that role, what role that will be, we'll just have to wait and see. But no matter how you twist it, you have to agree, guys, that it's finally getting a little bit exciting to be a Mass Effect fan again. What do you guys think, though? Do you think the Geth should go to Andromeda? Should they return at all? I want to see you guys replying to these questions, preferably down in the comments below where I can see them, because I think we need some discussion on these questions, especially now that this teaser is telling us the Geth will have some kind of role in the next Mass Effect game. That's why we should talk a little bit more about the Geth. So until next time, this is Dr. Epic, and I'm signing out.